The Doctor Who Alhambra Podcast. Real Doctor Who fans with real Doctor Who opinions.
Hello and welcome to the Doctor-Lite Podcast. I'm your host, Brett, flying solo today in this special co-host light edition of the podcast. In this episode 326, I am ranking the 9 Doctor-Lite stories from Modern Who. Yes, these episodes give our beloved Time Lord a break, allowing the characters to shine on their own. So grab your sonic screwdrivers, adjust your bow tie, and let's rank some of these Doctor-Lite Doctor Who episodes. All right. So this idea for this podcast came from an article that was recommended to me from my Google phone. It's basically saying, it recommended this article from Screen Rant. And so I decided to create my list. I looked at the Screen Rant's list. I had to add a couple of things here or there because I didn't realize that was a Doctor-Lite story. But hey, I just used all of the episodes listed from Screen Rant. And I will tell you, Screen Rant kind of has their own, mechanics for Doctor-Lite stories. Some of them are maybe less than Doctor-Lite, but since they included it, I included it there too. So with that being said, let's get to our list. And so, like I said, there are 9 episodes of the new series of Doctor Who that are Doctor-Lite episodes. Now, I have only ranked 8 of them because I have not watched one of them. And I don't think it's fair for me to rank that because I cannot go off of, at least for me personally, from what I've seen people on YouTube channels basically say, I don't understand this. I'm not sure if this is a good episode or not. It could be, it could not be, or whatever. And so that being said, because I have not watched 73 Yards, I cannot rank that. So that is not on my list whatsoever. That is not even, honorable mention because I haven't watched it. I cannot rank something that I have no understanding for. All I know is the day after it came out, because, I'm kind of sitting out most of this new Who. In fact, I think I'm really close to just being either 1989 or all the way up to Capaldi, maybe even just Matt Smith or whatnot. And, that's my canon right there. But that's a me problem. That is besides the point. That is not today's episode. Today's episode is ranking the 9 Doctor-Lite stories. So because 73 Yards is something I haven't watched, again, not included on the list. So I'm going to start with Screen Rant number 9. Number 9 on Screen Rant is, it claims that this is a near Doctor-Lite episode. And that comes from season 1, episode 8. And that is Father's Day. So I'm very shocked when I saw that this was number 9. I was very curious. I think I knew what was going to be number 1. I think anybody who has any clue of new Doctor Who knows exactly what number 1 will be on Screen Rant's list. However, I was really shocked that that they included Father's Day as a Doctor-Lite. I mean, he's not removed from the story, unlike, generally what they do now is basically the companion is on the run. Maybe the Doctor makes a guest appearance here or there. But I guess because this is a story focused on Rose and her dad from, a different world, I feel as though, I guess you could say that you could count that. So that is their number 9. And I will tell you, that is not my number 8 when we start matching up everything. So now, since I am now back on everything, I am going to give you, alongside Screen Rant, my ranking, so number 8, and I'm going to tell you what their number 8 is, and I'm going to give you the, should I? All right. No, I won't do that. I'll do that at the very end. At the very end, I'm going to go through all the rankings of all of these episodes as ranked by the time scales. So I do have that too, which is going to be quite interesting because I think my ranking is a tad bit more connected to fans ranking compared to where Screen Rant has things, but yeah. Anyway, you could blame modern day journalism for that one. Anyway, that being said, number 8 for Screen Rant is, and again, it says a near Doctor-Lite episode. This comes from season 10, episode 6, and that is Extremis. This is, so it says, according to their rationale, this season, episode 10, Extremis, is another episode that is close to being a Doctor-Lite, but isn't. The story is told across 2 different narratives, one real and one virtual. However, the Doctor simulation is still the Time Lord. The virtually simulated Doctor shares the same memories as his counterpart, and a perfect duplicate believes himself to be real. Even though he holds the same personality as a Doctor, it is not his real body. Therefore, Extremis isn't quite a Doctor-Lite episode, as the Doctor's mind is always present. So kind of an interesting, I think the Screen Rant was trying to get 10 episodes of make a top 10, and I think they were grasping at straws, hence this is on there. I mean, yeah, anyway, I probably would have put a couple other episodes in for potential Doctor-Lite episodes, like Closing Time. I think that's more of a Doctor-Lite than this one. I think it's more of a Doctor-Lite than the Father's Day, but whatever. My number 8 is season 14, episode 6, Dot and Bubble. I will do a review of this. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this individually or if I'm just going to do a group one. I'm not sure if I'm going to grab, I could be grabbing Legion to do a New Who review with me on the upcoming week. We'll have to see if time permits. But yeah, number 8, Dot and Bubble from season 14 or season 1, episode 6. So yeah, not a fan of Dot and Bubble. The more I think about it, the more I realize, I found holes while watching it. And I think to me, that's when I really, and I'm not looking to pick apart stuff. For me personally, whenever I watch a movie, whenever I watch a TV show, if I start picking things apart, it's because I'm bored. And, this is escapism material. And when I fail to escape from using the said material, I think that's when I start struggling and my enjoyment is lessened. So number 7 from Screen Rant is, again, this is entitled basically a near Doctor-Lite episode, and that is from season 6, so 11th Doctor, episode 10, The Girl Who Waited. And so they say that The Girl Who Waited has less of the 11th Doctor than other episodes. The storyline primarily focuses on Amy and her feelings about her relationship with Rory and her finally understanding what the 2,000 years he spent waiting for her feels like. However, the Doctor is still a crucial factor in the narrative pushing forward. Without the Doctor, Rory is unlikely to get far into the Institute to save his wife, whose timeline is speeding along much quicker than theirs. So, I remember kind of liking this one, but kind of not liking this one. It is not my number 7. My number 7 is one that I do have close to my heart, and but it is still not a good episode, and that is Love and Monsters, the 10th Doctor story from season 2, series 2, episode 10. I love that story. I actually initially did not like that story, but creating a fake, what do I want to say? Fake trailer for a Big Finish audio box set, which, if memory serves me, when I'm post-processing, I will put that in right here. Okay, here's my proposal to Nick Briggs, Jason Haig-Guillory, and the Big Finish think tank. Linda, box set volume 1.
You're listening to a Big Finish production.
But the thing is, when you're a kid, they tell you it's all grow up. Exterminate! Exterminate! Get a job.
You will be deleted.
Get married.
I'm flashing you my knickers.
Get a house.
And I should tell you that the Silurians have long since abandoned
Have a kid and that's it.
Brings Sutek's gift of death to all humans.
The truth is, the world is so much stranger than that.
Here we are. A little reward for my favourite handyman.
It's so much darker. London Investigation and Detective Agency. Linda, for short. And so much madder. It's a relationship of sorts. We manage. We've even got a bit of a love life.
Oh, let's not go into that.
Big Finish. We love stories.
So, yeah, Love and Monsters, number 7, Extreme Doctor-Lite episode, not great. That's why it's number 7. I'm very confused by The Girl Who Waited being where it is and Father's Day on Screen Rant, but whatever. Number 6 for Screen Rant is Series 2, Episode 10, Love and Monsters. This is one of the most renowned episodes, according to them, of Doctor Who. It is famous for it focusing on Jackie Tyler more than anything else, but also introducing the protagonist Elton, the member of Linda. Linda. All right. Unfortunately, they say Love and Monsters fails to recreate the same warmth for the rest of the season possesses. I disagree. I think season 2 and series 2 and series 3 of New Who is kind of the weaker series. I would actually give it to series 3, judged again. For me personally, everything is a rewatchability, and I think both of them have a handful of rewatchable episodes, and a lot of them that I would just hard pass on. So yeah, that's yeah, whatever. My number 6 is Extremis. So I had to put this on there because I didn't realize that, Screen Rant was going to put that on there because I didn't recall that as being a Doctor-Lite episode, but because they did, sure, why not? So again, this is from Series 10, Episode 6 from the 12th Doctor, the final season of the 12th Doctor era. I kind of... This was part where I really was struggling to like some of the episodes because this was the first 3-part episode in New Who, I believe, because of the sonic glasses, which sucked, as well as the, what was it? The monk type thing, the pyramid at the end of the world. I did not like that trilogy of stories. I feel as though it just was a slow slog, and this was the first one in that series. So again, I liked it more than Love and Monsters, but I guess at the end of the day, I could flip-flop it for either one and would not be bothered by it. For Screen Rant, number 5 is Series 8, Episode 9, and I adamantly disagree with the placement of this story. This is, I think, the second best, and I'm just saying that not looking at my list right now. This is the second best Doctor-Lite episode, in my opinion. This is Flatline. This has Clara, who is forced to take basically the majority of the role as the TARDIS has been shrunken into a small box. I can't believe that's how I described that. And she's carrying it around in her purse, trying to save it from two-dimensional figures. I think that is it is a fantastic story. The villain is, again, this is the reason why I really am struggling with RTD Part 2, is the villains are just villains. They're trying to be un-three-dimensional figures or two-dimensional figures, but in doing so, they're doing some horrific stuff. And I like the horror aspect of that story. I like I really like the Doctor companion, back and forth whenever it did occur. I just thoroughly loved the story. The villain was a villain. It wasn't a, humanity bad story. I'm really getting fed up with humanity bad. I understand humans are not the best people, but Could we get something where just bad guys are being bad guys? The Doctor gives them a chance and they blow it. And then he, uses his wrath and takes them down. Could we get that instead of, crying? My number 5 is The Girl Who Waited. So this is, again, the 11th Doctor, Series 6, Episode 10. This is not that great of a story, but it is still, it can be good. I have rewatched it a couple times. It does have some rewatch value, like, seeing it once every 3 years, I think would be, the right amount of ratio to for years to watching. But yeah. Number 4. Wait, is that right? Number 4? Oh, okay. Number 4. I guess when you don't have co-hosts, the list goes by a little bit faster than you expected. Number 4, Screen Rant has Series 14 or Season 1, Episode 6, which is Dot and Bubble. Now, this is very similar to a couple of Black Mirror episodes, which is, what is it? The star ranking one and the one with the whatever in their eyes where they can replay stuff. Anyway, I did not like this story. I think I might be in the minority of not liking this story. I will tell you, I think the Lindy, the person who I've heard some complaints that she's not a good actress. I will say she is, the way that she acts, she is so detestable. You have to say she's a good actress. I mean, like if you didn't hate her, I mean, it was one of those things where you kind of stopped rooting for her shortly before the twist. And again, I will probably do a review of this episode because I did watch it. But yeah, it's more of a Ruby light, Doctor extremely light episode. And yeah, I did not care for that. My number 4 is Father's Day from Series 1, Episode 9 or 8, which features yet again, like I said before, the Rose's doctor, or Rose's father. The 9th Doctor kind of take a step back. So Rose and, we can get like a more of a character piece on Rose and also understand her father, who does play a bigger role when we meet him once again in Series 2, which again, I think those are, the last 2 from Series 2 are near some of the best Doctor Who, minus most of Series 4. But again, that is just my opinion. Number 3 from Screen Rant. From Series 4, Episode 11, the 10th Doctor era, Turn Left. Now, this is perhaps my favorite, one of my favorite episodes from all of New Who. I think this is, yeah. So this is, I love this idea. There was a movie made many years ago called, what was it called? Sliding Doors, where this this female protagonist or whatever was trying to make it to a job, and the sliding doors of the subway closed faster, and she wasn't able to get in, and her life went one way. However, in the other alternative, the doors stayed open for just a tad bit longer, or somebody reached out their hand and the doors opened and her life went a different way. And you watch the alternate universe from one door, her missing the subway train to her getting on the subway, and how just one simple act of making it on time would affect everything. And again, so with this, if you'd watched, and this does require massive amount of watching, and knowledge, you would have had to watch most of Series 1 through Series 3 to understand some of the Christmas specials, to understand all of the events that happened differently because she turned a different way. So I love this story. I always love what if, and that is just this story encapsulated. Again, this is fantastic writing. I love Turn Left. It is probably one of the strongest, better stories ever written in New Who. My number 3 is Flatline from series, what is it, 9? Episode 8? Anyway, The 12th Doctor. Again, already talked about it. Fantastic story. Love the villain. Love how maniacal they can be. It is just fantastic. Number 2 on Screen Rant's list is the episode I haven't watched, 73 Yards from season 1, episode 4, or series 14, episode 4. According to Screen Rant, it says 73 Yards initially starts with the Doctor, but then magically disappears before the 2-minute runtime. While there are plenty of episodes where the companion has taken the reins, it has never happened to one so early on in their travel aboard the TARDIS, especially with zero Doctor at all. The enigmatic tale of Mad Jack and him becoming Prime Minister uses certain elements of an up-to-date retelling of Martha Jones's season 3 finale from her point of view. However, Ruby does not have much of a plan. Again, that is one of my... I've not watched this, but that's kind of interesting that even Screen Rant basically says that this uses certain elements and a retelling of Martha Jones' season 3 finale story. Again, what RTD is copying his homework. This is not the first time he's done this. So, I mean, running out of ideas, I don't know. It's just something to consider and pause for a moment. According to Screen Rant, this is kind of like a butterfly effect. How the butterfly effect can change a person's timeline in an instant. With the Doctor gone, Ruby is followed by a mysterious woman who scares off everyone who approaches her. Ruby's journey throughout the episode relies so much on her companion's skills, but her patience and resilience. However, unlike most Doctor Who stories, this episode doesn't get much of a logical conclusion, which is, again, I think just giving me ammo for not watching it because it focuses on the supernatural. And again, I like supernatural. I was thinking about this the other day, and the reason why I like Star Trek more than Star Wars, and Star Wars is space fantasy, and Star Trek is more science fantasy. Sorry, not space fantasy. Science fantasy. And Star Trek is more science fiction. And I think I really like the aspect of Doctor Who when it is science fiction. And this RTD Part 2, things have become more science fantasy. Again, I know before even the series started, it was rumored, and Liam was very excited about the idea of it being more magical and myth and stuff like that. And, that to me is just such a hard pass. So again, I think there's a couple other aspects to RTD Part 2 that I'm not particularly caring about. But again, it all goes down to this whole supernatural type stuff. Even the Weeping Angels have a science-based, it seems very fantasy-filled, but it actually has a science fiction-based compared to, again, what we're currently getting. Anyway, for me, number 2 is Turn Left, which comes from Series 4, Episode 11. And number 1, me and Screen Rant both agree, the best Doctor-Lite episode is Series 3, Episode 10, Blink. This is so good. It is according to Screen Rant, it says season 3, episode 10, Blink perfectly encapsulates the Doctor-Lite and Companion Light episode. It also marks the beginning of the term. In an interview for Doctor Who magazine, Stephen Moffat refers to Blink as a cheap, no CG Doctor-Lite episode. And I'll tell you, I think one of the things that I did mention on a previous podcast is how good the CGI is now that Disney Plus is involved with this show. However, when you kind of really focus on it, you realize most of the stuff that you're probably looking at is green screen related. And I think that is where a lot of the Marvel movies and some of the Marvel TV shows are really taking a hit. I've heard the main reason why lots of people like Andor is it actually is on location sites instead of a green/blue screen and everything else being added into the background. And so them saying that, or Stephen Moffat saying that Blink is a cheap, no CGI Doctor-Lite episode, I think that makes it even better. It is very atmospheric. It's very, it's reliant on the tone, the incidental music to add additional moments of uncertainty when it, when it needs to be present. I think that is super strong. And again, why Blink is probably one of the better episodes. They continue on. It says, Blink sees the incredible Carey Mulligan as Sally Sparrow, the main character for one of Stephen Moffat's best Doctor Who episodes. I would agree with that. And her troubles communicating with the Doctor and Martha. Blink also features the first appearance of the iconic Doctor Who villain, the Weeping Angels. The Weeping Angels, and from that point forward, I feel as though the Weeping Angels have kind of been less interesting. But those are my and Screen Rant's top 9 of Doctor Who Light episodes. I'm going to go through and give you what it would be if, as rated by fans on the Timescales website. I'm going to start with number 9, going all the way up to number 1. So, and give you the ranking. So, with that being said, I'm going to say number 9 with a rating of 5.9. It's kind of sad. Series 2, episode 10, Love and Monsters. Yes. I think that there's no way around that. Anyway, number 8 comes from series 14, episode 6, or season 1, episode 6. Sorry. Where did I get episode 6 from? Because this is not episode 6. That's anyway. That is Dot and Bubble. Okay, with a 7.4 fan rating on the Timescales. Number 7 is from season 1, episode 9, Father's Day, with a score of 8.2. Number 6 is 73 Yards, with a score of 8.3. Number 5 is The Girl Who Waited, with a score of 8.4. Right? Number 4 is Extremis, with a timescale rating of 8.6. So again, kind of like comparing and contrasting my list, Screen Rant's list with the voting of the fans list. Quite interesting. Number 3, with a score of 8.8, is Turn Left from series 4. Meaning number 2, with a score of 8.9, is Flatline. Oh, I like that. 8.9 Flatline. Anyway. And number 1, no surprise whatsoever, as rated by the fans on the Timescales, with a score of 9.3. The series 3 episode, Blink, is the Timescales fan favorite. So I really like my list compared to the fans list. I think it's a little bit more accurate compared to Screen Rant. I feel as though Screen Rant is kind of either prisoner of the moment, or you always have the fear of you can't criticize certain things for certain reasons. And I feel as though lists are lists and they are opinions. You could say, all right, well, maybe the author of this, Rebecca Sargent, this is what she actually believes. But I don't know. I would disagree. I think there is some issues with this list. Yeah. Anyway, that being said, love to hear your thoughts on your favorite Doctor-Lite episodes. Email the show at Alhambra Podcast. Sorry, at Alhambra Audio, ALHAMBRA Audio, all one word, at gmail.com. Tweet the show at Alhambra Podcast. DMs are open, and if messages are being sent to the DMs, maybe I'll get them, but I am not being notified of anything that, I'm being hit on through Twitter/X. So just keep that in mind. Until next time, what was my closing catchphrase? Oh yeah, I will see you in time. You have been listening to the Doctor Who Alhambra Podcast. Doctor Who is owned and trademarked by the BBC. Doctor Who Alhambra is not affiliated with the BBC or Big Finish. No infringement is intended. Visit our website at alhambrapodcast.weebly.com or email the show at alhambraaudio@gmail.com. Tweet us at Alhambra Podcast. That is ALHAMBRA Podcast. Thank you.